Thanks very much, guys. Another cracking desk from you all, and we're getting into it here. It is FaZe versus MNM, and surely this one is our closest game yet. Who are you picking for this game, Mandy?
I'm actually on Team MNM for this one. I think that FaZe, off the back of 2 roster changes, are still going through their rebuild period. Although they are very strong, they are a Brazilian roster and the entire league is quite competitive. I think that MNM, in their current form and how much they've improved across the last few months, will be able to take them down.
Well, Mandy, we have been charming the Brazilians all day long. Our first match that we casted was W7M, and they took a handy victory. Then we saw Team Liquid, which was even more dominant. Now our third Brazilian team that we see here in the server for us today are going up against MNM, a team with a lot of promise, but had a little bit more of a turbulent pathway through the play-ins than I think a lot of people had expected.
Yeah, I think MNM definitely took a while to warm up to the environment here at the Copenhagen Major, but as the days have gone on, I think they've looked a little bit more comfortable. And I think against FaZe Clan, they should, I think, show a pretty close match, to be honest. FaZe, yes, they're a very good roster, and I'm expecting big things out of them as well. But yeah, like you said, MNM, they have fought their way in through FaZe 1. I think they're looking warmed up now.
And as we go to border, we see the operator bans come through. The Ossa taken off the board, so you're not going to be going for those quick plants, at least not with that shield to cover you. Now, of course, you can always try something like that with the Montaigne, with your Sands or your Glaz. We've seen teams do it before, but the Ossa will not be in the equation. The Hibana is a strange one to me. Very, I don't know, rare, a ban, especially on border, like maybe if we were a clubhouse, but I don't know. What's your take on that Hibana ban?
Well, my take on it is that border is a bit of a dangerous map to pick things like Thermite on, right? You don't really want to have your exothermic charge in your hands and actually walk up to a wall, because a lot of the walls are in a pretty tough spot to put your hard breach down on. So you're not going to see Thermite all too often, maybe a little bit, but you don't usually see like things like your tin can openers, like the secondary hard breach charge or whatever. So you're more relying on your extended hard breach or your ranged hard breach to actually get things open and cut the map in half once you get into the building. So I imagine that taking Hibana off the board means that you have to be forced to play Ace instead. It means that you don't have a set of flashbangs on Hibana once you go for the execute. I feel like it's actually a pretty good ban because she seems like a very versatile attacker on this map.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I expect maybe we'll get a lot of Ace played then for some ranged hard breach. Yeah, funnily enough, Ace. We say Ace, and then the FaZe Clan Ace bundle comes up on screen.
That's so cool.
There you go. Perfect timing production. Whether it was intentional or not, MNM start on the defense here. And with the Mirror left in, Mandy, that's something we didn't touch on. The Mirror and the Valkyrie. Once upon a time, the defensive bans. But now you've got Azami and Solus, and they have shaken up the meta like crazy. Those two have been banned out. So it's like we've turned back the clock a little bit here.
It is really cool. I do like seeing Mirror come back into play. I really like the architecture kind of operators. I think they really change up the map, and having Mirror in should be an exciting one to watch here for MNM as they look for their extension over in towards this break room. They're really making here the hallway and inside of office a power position for these guys to be in. It's going to really make it hard for FaZe Clan to make their way in from those east stairs position or even try and claim CCTV control.
MNM banned out the Montaigne. Sorry, the Ossa. I got a bit ahead of myself there. And we see the Montaigne picked. So not one shield, but the other does appear. It's Handy who's brought it. Cyber has taken control of these stairs. Now, there is a gaping hole in that triple wall, but a Mirror facing it. So very difficult for FaZe Clan can continue marching forward. It looks like they might try and nade him off from the roof, however.
Cyber's done a great job at not exposing himself to the weaknesses of the attack here and keeping himself in areas that are blind spots to the line of sight of the defense. He's just got this little square meter of area that he's safe in from that line of sight on the triple wall, but Soltov can take him down with this with the dock. 1.5x in hand is pretty lethal.
And you cursed him, Mandy.
I did, I definitely did.
Well, here we see some ranged hard breach come into effect. KDS using that Ace. He's opened up a nice big line of sight. Now Nello is trapped in that corner as well. Now, the Croatian player may be able to find some good timing here. He's just biding his time. Nice long angle for Souls. Good job being extra cautious of that C4. Nello's managed to cross, but the nade takes him low. He really is caught in a bit of a pinch right now. But he's going to be able to find a kill off the back of it nonetheless. Now retaking the office position behind that Mirror window. MNM are looking very comfy.
They're playing a great attrition game here of the zoning that they can claim on this map. Souls is able to trade one back onto users, keeping the man advantage in MNM, however, as it is a 4-on-3. Solto holding down this long line of sight as Handy gets the drop shot onto Nello in the second from Vidaking. Suddenly, things swinging in the way of FaZe Clan with now a 2-on-2.
And that Monty is one of the only 2 attackers left. We've seen, though, Handy unafraid to drop the shield. As you said, go for that drop shot. Very powerful. Now a heal up from Solotov as the Turk looks to hold this long line of sight. What's Handy going to be able to do? Vaulting in through. This is going to be a nice and safe plant here. There is a C4 now in hand for Tyron. Sailing on over. It gets the down that they needed. But are FaZe aware of where these last 2 players are for MNM, as Vidaking must take matters into his own hands, and he certainly cannot get it done. What a great opening round to fight back for MNM.
I really admire the tenacity of Nello to be able to play in the position that he was in. He was stuck in a really tough spot, almost cut off there from the breach charge that did go down on the wall, but immediately off the back of getting the kill, he reclaims the spot that was previously held by one of his deceased teammates, and as a result, it just keeps FaZe at bay for that little bit longer and pushes them to make that mid-round even more scrappy. And on Border, when you want to look for those executes and you need the numbers advantage to go in for the gunfights that you need, it can be really tough, and so I really admire what Nello was able to do there through the mid-round.
Great work from MNM, because that at the start looked like it was going to be a FaZe lead. They had those really great picks in the mid-round. Good job from MNM to bring it back. And now MNM, of course, have to continue changing bomb sites here. So Armory is locked up. They're going to go to Vent's Workshop. We've seen a lot of Tellers play, but Vent's Workshop instead will be taken this time around. The thing is, Border's just such a small map. You really need to be contesting as much of it as possible. And as you can see in the prep phase, not a single player on the site. Is there perhaps not even a single player on the ground floor? Bit of roaming going on. It looks like users over near detention, but most of these players from MNM upstairs around Armory and Archives.
It seems so. Looking at this really vertical extension, like you said, I really like what MNM have done to the Straplock Border, to be honest. It feels like the way that they've set themselves up is to take these early to mid-round engagements. They're not willing to set themselves up on the site and let FaZe Clan come to them. They want to be within their faces really early on in the rounds.
Great impact trick there from Usus. I think that's completely denied the detention wall. KDS does have one Selma left in pocket to go for a breach, but really it's far fewer than he would desire. He's not going to have a lot of options for breaching Armory Wall, for example, and other areas on the site late round. This roam is still well and truly alive up for MNM, and FaZe struggling to get boots inside the building.
Here we go, Souls on board now with the sledge, is going to try and make his way in from inside that break room area. Handy from below will grenade through the vertical, but doesn't sink onto any of the half-wall players since there's no one there. KDS taking a bit of a tussle with Solosov on the other side of CCTV there, but not able to take him down.
This is where FaZe Clan need to start actually securing some picks. Cyber's made his way inside. There's a good position. Nello's also been injured now at half-wall by that nade. Cyber makes his way towards the bottom of main stairs, but Tyrant is on this roam as well and just hiding. Finally, there is the first proper exchange, and FaZe do lose a player. Cyber's in such a critical position here. Naif has done a great job at holding on to the front. The Handy going down. Cyber does get the trade, but immediately Tyrant springs up from his roam and makes his presence known. Just 2 players left for FaZe.
MNM have done a fantastic job at keeping pace with FaZe Clan, even though FaZe looks for tentative solutions across the entire map. MNM didn't seem fazed by it as they were able to take the individual engagements that they needed. They were there being active for the trades, and as a result has left KDS at a 1-on-4.
This has been beautiful from MNM, isn't it? They're so restrained, even in the numbers advantage here. They played their roams to perfection. They withstood even... Oh, well, okay, Nello, I thought he missed the motion just there, but he does go back and check. And have a look at that. Behind the players, Julio's very happy about that one. The new coach, the world champion himself, and of course, a player who is very, very familiar with his current opponents in FaZe Clan.
I was going to say that. So FaZe here have taken their tactical timeout, which I think is fair enough. I really think that MNM have got a super good read onto the play style that FaZe are bringing into this game. I think that having Julio on the roster of MNM has been really advantageous to their strat book. I was talking to Eden a little bit earlier to see what he thought about onboarding Julio and how much they've changed off the back of him. And as a result, they've really introduced a lot of ideas off the back of Brazil and the way that they play. By having him in the roster, Eden said they didn't really change much team dynamic-wise. Nelo's still leading it. They still have the same 5 roster. They want to keep things consistent, but they've put a massive upgrade to the strat book. And now that they're going up against another Brazilian team, I really feel like they're starting to find the upper hand here by having such a good read into their playstyle because they're now trying to learn it themselves.
I'm super curious to see what it's going to be like when Julio's taken those tactical timeouts as well, if needed. At the moment, MNM are looking pretty comfy as Nello has a look at the strat book. I love that.
That's awesome.
The A4 printouts. But it's FaZe who have just taken their tactical timeout, and 2 rounds down on their attack. They need to get back into it, and realistically they need to do it right now. If they let this slide to a further lead and they don't have a tactical timeout left in the bank, I'd be very concerned.
I would be as well. Soltov is on a bit of a tear, I've just noticed, having a look at the scoreline so far. 2 rounds in and 4 kills to his name. Hasn't died yet, so far, immortal. He's looking pretty comfortable, and so the rest of MNM. It doesn't really feel like FaZe Clan, although they have looked for this sort of pro play style through the map, trying to take what real estate they can. They never seem to be given anything from the defense of MNM.
Location of a bomb. 5 seconds to go.
Well, FaZe Clan, how are you going to get back into it? Is it going to be a change of playstyle? Is this going to be a spawn peek from users? This is very cheeky. That is just exuding confidence from MNM. Now, there is no player spawning on that side of the map ready to meet him. Vidiking's actually quite aware, or at least cautious. He's not in a vulnerable position while droning. Users is still waiting here. He's so patient. Is he going to get the timing here? Vidiking, oh, very safe just for now. Now he is breached. The run out does happen. And so FaZe will be aware of that position, but users should be able to get back safely inside.
Interesting. I like this from FaZe. So I think they've just used the Rotero drone thanks observers to actually create a rotation going into the bomb site from the bottom of east stairs there. So if they want to put some pressure down, they can try and sneak their way in. Cyber, though, has been able to find the first pick of the rounds for FaZe Clan, taking down Solotov, but he's met by the mirror window of Tyrant on the other side. And here it is. That rotation hole from the Flores has enabled the rest of FaZe Clan to drop down to this ground floor and try and hit the bomb site directly.
Yeah, I like that. Looks like the Brazilians are going for a very direct attack. They don't want to have to deal too much with Tyrant upstairs on this mirror window, and they're going for the plan already. This is where Users has to spring into action. He's the guy that's meant to deny this, but he has allowed FaZe Clan to cross into the site. And on the attempt at retreating, he's taken down Vida for a double. And FaZe Clan on the back of their tactical look to convert 5v1 now, and it's going to be a flawless bounce back. The Brazilians are alive and kicking.
That was a really excellent exploitation of the one weakness in the strategy of MNM. They were able to find a hole in the wall, quite literally, to sneak the way for the bombs to get into the bomb site. Vidiking played that post plant to perfection as he pops up behind the desk and takes down 2 of them on the retake. Great read from FaZe Clan on the strategy of MNM.
The perfect moment as well for FaZe to bounce back. If they lost the round on the back of that tactical timeout, I'd be very concerned. But it really doesn't get much better than taking a tactical timeout and then getting a flawless round to follow.
I gotta say, I really do rate Vidiking. I don't know what you think of it, but I think that when they took out Cameraman, I was really worried for FaZe because I thought Cameraman is like the most solid support I think I've watched in a very long time, right? The stuff he does on Maverick is like magical. The things he was able to do on Hibana was like, wow, how was the wall open, you know? But Vidiking has really come into his own with a completely different support style to what Cameraman had. I think Vidiking is a super versatile support play. He can play all hard breach. He has lots of new ideas, different ways of sneaking himself into the bomb site that I think FaZe hasn't really seen before. I think he's really found his place, and I think that was a really great showing of just what he can do.
He showed up, 2 kills and the bomb down. Doesn't get much better than that. Now let's see if FaZe can continue that momentum. MNM are allowed to go back to their primary bomb site here of Armory. And FaZe last time tried to go for an office take, but it fell to the wayside. They really stalled out. I like this, though. We've got quite a few changes. We've got Handy on the Twitch here. Going to be looking for some utility on site. Also a very early nade from Cyber. I'm not sure exactly whether that was trying to clear Tyrant or some utility.
That was a shield there, I think.
Ah.
So I think there's a shield atop the main stairs that actually faces out into the triple wall if they want an entry in. So I think they tried to sink some nades in there, but I don't think it actually... Yeah, there we go. That's the shield there, just facing off the back of the triple wall, but hasn't been taken down just yet. So utility sink, not successful.
FaZe also had a drone really deep inside of CCTV, so they might be able to use that. Look at that. To try and get some vertical nades. Solotov stays alive. Only takes a small amount of damage, but better safe than sorry. He stims up. The second nade doesn't actually do a single lick of damage to Solotov. He somehow has managed to stay alive here on the dock. This is a chaotic round, man. There's a lot happening in just about every corner of Border right now.
This is pretty unfortunate for FaZe Clan. They've just used both sets of grenades and they haven't been able to sink anything, whether it's a kill, even taking down utility. Nothing has quite gone in the way of FaZe so far in this round, and to make matters worse, Solotov is going to take down Souls as the first pick of the round.
And Tyrant is still up and kicking as well. As he goes for that reload, he's got cover as well. Cyber! He steps up and he brings it back for FaZe. If KDS can get picked up, which he will, this is a 3v3 and a very winnable position now for FaZe Clan.
Low HP though for KDS and Cyber, who's been taken down to half on the other side. Solotov, although was taken very low, was able to stim himself back up and is now alive and kicking. Solotov, the man himself, as we say his name, takes down KDS from that long line of sight as Cyber rounds the corner, is at least able to get one back onto a completely unknowing Nello. Solotov once again, for the third time that we've said his name in this round, and for the fourth, is able to take down the final kill and another round for MNM.
Someone tell me, what are they feeding this guy? It always seems to be for MNM, the Turk, Solotov stepping up, a 4K on the round. I mean, the player that I was most scared of if I was going up against FaZe, it's Cyber. He had a huge round there, and he was almost competing with Solotov for the most kills. And then Solotov just straight up wall bangs him. Yeah, I mean, here we see the shot, in fact. Oh no, this is the previous kill. He also gets a wall bang right here. Bang.
Nasty, yucky. I can't believe he's able to land stuff like that. You know what? If there's any player that you want to give the dock license to, yeah, fair enough, honestly. Stim yourself up, survive the grenades. That was such an unfortunate round there for FaZe Clan to the early round, though, to reiterate. It just didn't feel like anything went their way. They couldn't quite get in onto the building. Even the first pick didn't go their way. So I think MNM have done a great job of just being cautious and holding their ground and not dying. Sometimes the name of the game in Siege isn't always pressing the attack and getting yourselves into the gunfights. It's just survival. And sometimes if you can evade a danger like that, it can win you rounds.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Absolutely, and Border in particular as well. As one of the smaller maps in the pool, we often say this is an attacker-sided map, and the stats in EUL back that up. But despite that fact, MNM have been stellar here on their defense. 3 rounds so far. If anything, they've met and exceeded the par in just the first 4 rounds. Anything they can get from here is just a bonus. FaZe Clan absolutely have the responsibility to bring it back now.
Interesting defense as well for MNM, though. They have decided to bring along the double intel combination of Valkyrie and Pulse. Now, to try and counter this, we do have FaZe switching onto the IQ as well as the Brava to try and take these things down remotely. The IQ is going to inform the Brava where to go, and then the Brava is going to send in the drones and actually take down what's necessary, right? So the first point of contest that they want to put some pressure on is going to be this detention wall. With that Retilia Claw gone, it can allow KDS to get this open, and the Nello is going to be under a little bit of pressure in his power position inside of Customs.
I wonder how long until Nello decides to try and fall back. Cyber once again, he's just in the building and he's footsteps away from the bomb site, finds a player on site, immediately pivots to take down Nello, and does. Massive impact once again for the star player of FaZe Clan. He might be a veteran, but he hasn't lost an ounce of his sharpness. Now he's going up against Solotov as KDS tries to help him out, but Solotov once again, he's continuing his reign of terror. And he's brought this back for MNM.
And here we go, Solotov reclaiming the position that Nello was once in. Now taken down, is going to try and keep Vidiking at bay as he makes his way in from the detention wall. Droned in by his teammate of Handy on the other side.
Oh, no.
Is about to... he doesn't see Solotov. Missed drone. Is going to cost the life of Vidiking as he's taken down by Solotov. Now man advantage swung back in the way of MNM.
I don't think anything can stop this man. 11 kills and just a single death in the 5 rounds we played so far. KDS, man, I don't envy you. I'd be shy on that peak as well. Handy gets time. Solotov gets out with his life. And this is cruel. Users has the vertical angle as well, and these 2 last FaZe players need to find a way to regroup.
Danger now for FaZe as they have to push into the belly of the beast. 3 MNM players surround them, leaving KDS in a 1-on-3.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. You can feel it. And of course, it's going to be Solotov. 12 kills to his name and only a single death so far. MNM are farming FaZe.
They're doing so well here on Border and on defense as well. It's not every day that you see a defending side of Border look so dominant as MNM have been able to make it. But just the way that they're setting themselves up around the map is just so much success. It feels like the way that they've done it perfectly counters the way that FaZe Clan play, right? FaZe, they don't ever seem to dedicate themselves to one linear push right at the start of the round. They spend the entire early round trying to find a way into the building, trying to probe the defense until they find a point of weakness. But MNM have set themselves out for holistic map control so well that FaZe never find a comfortable way in. It's only Cyber who's been able to find like a few little blind spots to run through hallways and whatever, but it gets shut down really quickly by MNM because it just, they're sort of just adjacent to him once he gets into the building, right?
Yeah, and everything's going right for MNM, like the micro, like FaZe is starting to make little mistakes. The missed drone here, Solotov punishing that play. And I mean, honestly, just Solotov running amok, that's got to be a tilter for FaZe Clan. They're sitting there, they know that a lot of these deaths are their own mistakes. They're struggling to find anything. And now they're staring down a pretty grim scoreline at the end of the half. If they're not able to salvage it this round, Mandy, then I think it's GG.
Yeah, I mean, just the scoreboard is ridiculous on the side of MNM. There's 2 kills on every player, but Solotov, who is 12. That is 10 more than all of his teams. That is crazy from him. He's just been able to run absolutely rampant here on the defending half. FaZe Clan once again starting out to probe the map here on the ground floor. Most of them actually shaping off around this southern side of the map. Good grief, getting a bit tongue-tied here. As they start to make their way into the building, it does seem like they're once again going to try and probe out this ground floor around the customs area, around this big open area, as they did previous time they attacked the bomb site.
MNM are so patient. Even though they've been doing so well, they're happy to just sit on their mirror windows, hold their positions. They don't feel the need to run around and give an opportunity up to FaZe. Cyber has been the playmaker for the Brazilians, but he has also been the risk taker. And if he dies early, then I'd be very scared. He's actually right next to that default camera, but there's no one on it right now. He might be able to take advantage of the opportunity. Is that Nello upstairs? Oh, walks straight into a Capcan trap, and immediately Nello is aware.
Good passive intel off the back of that Capcan trap has revealed Cyber and has forced him to fall back into the safety of mezzanine. But it isn't really safe when Solotov is on the top of his stairs to take you down, is it? At least there's some control here for FaZe as they've been able to make their way into customs, but that doesn't lead you to too many places. There's Workshop on the other side as Handy makes his way in off the back of KDS here to support him, but 2 MNM players within the bomb site seem pretty aware.
KDS finally gets a kill and finds an opening. Handy's in the site and he's forcing down this diffuser. Where is Solotov? Uses going for the retake, but he loses his fight. Tyrant's gone down. It's Solotov with it all to do. His second on the round now. Nello needs to come and assist him. Solotov can't get it all done himself. 14 kills to his name and hungry for more, but he is finally put to rest. Nello desperately looking for a duel in the 1v3, but Vidiking puts him in the dirt and FaZe redeem themselves on the half.
Yeah, and the second time that they were able to claim an attack onto the bathroom and Teller's bomb site in a pretty similar fashion as well. Just put the control on the ground floor and then sneak your way on into the bomb site. MNM, although it seems like they were a little bit aware of what was going on, they had players there to fight them laterally inside of Workshop. The gunfights didn't quite go their way. KDS was able to get a backstab, and then off the back of that, users couldn't do too much there either. So FaZe Clan doing a really great job to isolate the gunfights that were mission critical to the push that they wanted to go for, and then get that diffuser down and win the round.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit concerning when FaZe, after their tactical timeout, of course, they did win the immediate round, but then they lost 2 in a row. I'm just glad for FaZe's sake that they managed to finally get something to finish off the half. Now, they're fighting from behind here on their defense, but it's not all over yet. I think that this could end up being a defensive border. I'm not optimistic. I still think that MNM have just had such a phenomenal first half. But with that mirror in, with that Valkyrie in, you know, even in the absence of things like the Solus and the Azami, I want to give FaZe some credit here.
Actually, the mirror and the Hibana ban is an interaction that we haven't really addressed yet.
That'll be
so because Hibana is gone, mirror is like way more viable now as well, right? Yes, you have Ace, but you have a very limited amount of Selma charges because you need to use most of them on walls anyway. So I think that having mirror in is actually quite powerful, and perhaps a bit more powerful than we had initially anticipated it to be. It might be the reason why the attack is struggling. I don't know. I feel like Solotov just had a really crazy half. He just played lights out, and I think, you know, we'll see how FaZe do on the defense, but it's a theory.
Well, I will say, after Solotov got the opening kill last round, he had as many kills as the entire of FaZe Clan combined.
Yeah. He's having a good one.
He's having the game of his life at the moment.
Sol's, though, seeming pretty aware that the player is just outside of that AC position as Tyrant has found his way in down below. 2 grenades in his pocket will enable him to play the vertical game, as some red pings do go out onto the players left on the bomb site. It's about informing Tyrant to actually try and sink one of those grenades onto the anchors left on the bomb site. There we go, yellow ping, perfectly placed on the defender. Just above him around that horseshoe desk, grenade being cooked and perfectly sunk onto Cyber.
Yeah, but there is a response here. The C4 from Souls lands on Nave. Now here comes Tyrant with a second nade. This one's surely going to land. Doesn't quite finish off the kill, but it does get a lot of damage there onto Handy.
Yeah, Naif there, a little ill-advised, tried to use the Candelas to get into the bomb site, but not realizing that it was a Warden on the other side, has left MNM now in the man disadvantage. Tyrant's got one more nade from below that he seems to look to be using, but Nello, with 2 SAM cams left in his pocket, is taking some time to inform him. Users down below is going to try and double down with Tyrant to make his way up the main stairs. The grenade doesn't sink, but Vidiking is there to meet them on the other side.
And here's another nade. Oh, it's just shy of the mark, that one. Very unfortunate there. Almost landed on Vidiking. Would have been quite devastating. No nades left now for MNM. And I think FaZe might be able to finally string 2 rounds in a row.
It seems so, as now MNM have got to convert their push from the ground floor to the floor back up again, and really don't have the safest way of doing so. Users has decided to go external of the building instead, realizing that the stairs are very well cut off. Meanwhile, the rest of his teammates trying to probe around this AC and sandwich side of the map, but I think it's going to be pretty tough for MNM to actually make their way in. KDS now taking the duel with Users on the other side is a pretty scary engagement.
Yeah, Users has also found one onto Handy. Now there's full info here for KDS on the back of that bulletproof camera. Unfortunately, he composes enough to find the kill. That said, Nello's made his way all the way into Armory. He's caught out. They know where he is, and Souls lands the shots needed. FaZe Clan. That's the defense start that we were looking for.
Maybe our theory is right. Maybe our whole mirror Hibana theory. Look, it's possible that we've just like colossally overthought it, but maybe it is right.
I reckon you're on the money.
Because, right, the path of least resistance with the mirror windows up is to go in from below, which is what MNM did, right? But then playing the vertical grenades is kind of an unreliable way to actually try and open up the early round. Yes, like you can collect some of those kills, especially off the back of having the right amount of info, like Nello tried to use the SAM cams to inform those grenades. But if those don't work, it's kind of your early game done, because it's really hard to then convert up into the next floor because the mirror window's there and you kind of can't deal with them. Maybe we're overthinking it, but I feel like it's really hard to get internal of the building.
Yeah, I agree. I don't reckon you're overthinking it, Mandy. I reckon the Hibana mirror interaction is spot on. I think that's what FaZe were doing with that ban. Funnily enough, they really struggled against the mirror. when MNM were playing it. They tried to get Cyber to sneak his way in somewhere. And it is, like you said, a stark contrast to the way that MNM are attacking this, where they're looking to take as much control down below while also having people posted up on nearby windows or balconies of the site. And then that pressure in tandem with the vertical nades is the way MNM are looking to find an opening into the round. But I don't know, what are they going to do this time? Because it's Teller's Archives, very different bomb site.
It is. It is a very different bomb site because it's sort of like tucked in the corner of the map. You can't really like open up as much external stuff, right? So there's no mirror as well being in played for FaZe Clan. They're actually going to bring along the K8 of Handy to try and keep the bomb site really closed off inside that corner of the map.
Don't mind that from Cyber, already denying one Twitch drone and now looking to deny entry into supply. KDS has realized that Flores has opened up a rotation outside. My God.
Filthy.
How does he see that? I have no idea. He must be millimeters away from his monitor to see the Pixel Tyrant there, but that's a big opening kill for Cyber.
Oh, good info as well for the defense. Valkyrie cameras are informing the push of MNM. Solotov, his presence is completely made aware to the defense, and I don't think he's got any idea that they know exactly where he is. Vidiking is going to try and help out his roamers, jumping on those Valkyrie cameras for them and telling them exactly what is going on.
Well, that Dockerby call did force him off the cameras for a brief moment, but he hung it up. And now he's checking once again for his teammates. Looking to get info, but he hasn't seen much as of yet. I think FaZe are struggling to get a read on what MNM are doing so far.
So I think MNM have decided to try and dedicate themselves to this top floor clear. Users, although they did know that he was sweeping through the top floor, does still win out that gunfight with a bit of HP, and Nello can win his as well. It's forcing FaZe Clan to fall their way back onto the bomb site as Vidiking, the lone man there, needs his teammates to help him out as MNM try and convert the push.
Yeah, thing is here, now that FaZe have two people dead, they're going to be on those cameras at all times, but also will MNM be? The Dockerby hack, that's beautiful from users. Now, I do remember that Vidiking put his C4 in a pre-placed position already, and it might be possible for a call to come out from one of those teammates so that he can get a kill. It's far too premature. And FaZe are under the pump now.
Yeah, so off the back of that Dokkaebi hack, MNM realized where the remaining Valkyrie cameras were and started to take them down. Nave now getting control of the top floor and down the east stairs is able to claim the life of KDS, leaving Vidiking and Handy in a 2-on-4.
Solotov has not found a kill this half, and he hasn't needed to either, because the rest of his team has stepped up massively. Now MNM look to isolate these final two defenders. Once again, the drone comes out. Vidiking, though, he might have something. He's taken down Nello, and this push from MNM has got to come now. The breach onto site thanks to the ace, but that diffuser in Nafe's pocket has to get on the ground now. Handy and Vidiking both have beautiful lines of sight, and Vidiking, oh, he's trying to find the angle. He's gonna deny it. FaZe are on it for a trek. That's 3 rounds in a row.
And who better to do it but Vidiking himself, right? If he's the one planting in that spot for FaZe, he's the one that knows how to deny it. He knows for sure, yep, that desk is wall bangable because that is where I plant, and I know that is how I'm going to die. So for Vidiking there, it was awesome. Honestly, from the start to the end of the round, I didn't get a chance to say it, but it was also him that does the reinforcement onto the wall there as well, the little single walls. Yeah, he knows what's going on.
This is my spot. I plant here, and I also deny plant here. This is my spot.
He knows exactly how to play that really well, and I think, yeah, it's great composure from the remaining 2 players of FaZe Clan. Even though they were down in the man advantage, they knew what the win condition was for the rounds, and they knew that MNM didn't have the time to go in deep and collect the kills. They knew that MNM wanted to go for the plant, so they stayed composed and just denied it.
Composure will be required now from MNM. Julio crouching down and giving a bit of a pep talk. He knows exactly what the team needs to hear. He has been in this position so many times before, but not as many standing behind the players as being one of them himself. I wonder what choice words did he give to MNM? What do they need to hear right now?
I don't know, honestly. I feel like this is a really hard game to problem solve. It feels like the adversities that are happening in this game are really hard to pick apart. I think even for us on the caster desk at the moment, I don't really have an explanation for why. the defense is coming up top. I think our mirror theory like kind of gets proven wrong a little bit off the back of that bomb site, right? Because it didn't get picked anyway.
True.
I'm not really sure what's making the defense so strong here, to be honest.
Both these teams are playing really well on the defense. I will say, Manny, this has just been a great high-quality game of Siege from both teams.
It has been.
And
It's been really exciting.
It has, and you know, it's funny. All day we've been kind of making this running gag about, you know, when is this one going to be the close game? And then we went up like, what, 4-1 for MNM, and I was like, maybe not. And now FaZe kind of brought it back 3 in a row. So always have faith, you know, always believe.
We always do believe in the Rainbow Six team to deliver. Look, we had an absolute shocker that we casted it earlier today, so I'm really happy that we're being treated to this one. Oh, I like this from Solotov. A little bit of drone parkour with a twitch.
Oh, yes.
Oh, he's going to be able to assassinate all of these mirrors. Bang! And
Oh!
it's a double with the suck drone!
Solotov is that guy. He does it all. 14 kills in the first 5 rounds, and he hasn't found one since, but it doesn't matter. Man's making an impact. Who needs a Habana when you can twitch those mirrors?
That was awesome. That was good fun to watch. The drone parkour down into both mirrors going away means that Fountain is no longer as safe as FaZe Clan think it is. Tyrant, meanwhile, is making his way in from jail instead and immediately putting the pressure down. They've actually droned out some of the Valkyrie cameras here as well, so Tyrant's going to feel a lot safer here on his entry.
There's information aplenty now for MNM, as the drones have gone in. Nello's looking for something with the Brava. Not only just great information gathering, but also could potentially hack something. Hasn't found anything to do so as of yet. Not a lot to hack except for those Valkyrie cameras. And Cyber's done a good job at denying that information.
Yeah, once again, Tyrant down below has 2 nades in pocket to try and sink onto the defenders on the floor above him. Solotov with the DMR in hand can once again claim another kill to his name, the first pick in the way of the round. But Handy on the other side can see through the smoke, but not before being taken down by users. Man advantage now to MNM.
They can't fumble it from here, surely not. Another smoke goes out, as does the logic bomb. In comes the player, and Solotov finds his 16th kill. A retreat back to the side now for Souls as he scrapes away 1 kill, but still 4 more to find, and MNM have an abundance of time available. There's Tyrant just waiting for the rotation. On the back of their tactical timeout, Julio will be very satisfied with his players.
Yeah, nice one there from MNM. I think it was really the replay of the Twitch drone. Bam! That's big value. I like this there from Solotov. He played pretty calm and collected position here on the breach, and I think this was really what opened up the rounds here for MNM. Just him being able to walk his way on into Armory off the back of his 2 picks. Just unfortunately for FaZe Clan, they sort of couldn't keep the top floor at bay. The mirrors going down was a bit like, uh-oh. And then the breach going down was like, oh no, for MNM, for FaZe Clan. And unfortunately, the engage was not going their way. Meant they had to forfeit the top floor, and MNM won off the back of that.
Yeah, it escalated real quick. Well, now we're at an even position in terms of neither team having that tactical timeout available. MNM 1 round in advance, and just 2 rounds away from giving FaZe Clan the L. MNM had to fight through those play-ins, and let's be honest, Mandy, it was not easy. These guys had some really tough games. I mean, their final match against Sandbox was pretty cut and dried affair, but MNM were almost knocked out of the tournament by Fury.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me.
And MNM's first game was a pretty convincing loss to Falcons, so it's not been an easy road for the Europeans.
Yeah, no, that was a scary time, okay? I did not think I was ever going to see the day that Fury would take down MNM, but we almost did. Yeah. And I was like, good God, what timeline are we living in?
Well, anyway, apparently the timeline where MNM is looking to take down major champs FaZe Clan.
That's pretty big. That is a timeline that I didn't think would be in the same one as them almost losing to Fury. Anyway, I digress. We're in a different matchup now. Here we go. FaZe Clan on their defense are looking to hold on to this top floor, while a lot of players have actually put themselves down on the ground floor. It feels like they're getting a read into the way that MNM are trying to enter into the building and sink these vertical grenades and try and contest them early on.
Yeah, but there's 2 players right around the corner from each other. One of the MNM players didn't manage to catch which one. Okay, here we go. So, Nafe, Amaru inside events. Very unusual. What is his idea with the Amaru? Is he really planning on going up one of these hatches? I've seen it work very rarely. And, I mean, what's more, there are quite a few roamers to deal with. What is this play?
Oh, they could do it. So Nello has the diffuser in hand with the smokes and the Monty, and he could make his way inside of Archives and try and get the plant down, which I think is exactly what's going down. Now, Nello, unfortunately, has just been taken down to a C4, but with Nafe in his position, he could definitely go up the hatch with Amaru and try and help his teammates out.
And he's also just heard that KDS has rotated up the main stairs, and he's taken him out to follow, traded back by Vidaking, playing on his mirror window. But meanwhile, Nello has been picked back up again. Vidaking tries to make a play, but it is fruitless after all. A second C4. Nello cannot catch a break, but it's all up to Handy now. 3 players still up, and his teammate, unfortunately, in an irretrievable position. What is the Warden going to be able to do? His cross is not covered, and he's going to be able to get Souls back up on his feet.
The moment that you said it was irretrievable, I was like, yup, he's in a 1-on-3. But that wall being reinforced off allowed Handy to sprint past nice and speedy to try and revive his teammate. An attempt at the plant, not successful, but Souls and Handy can double down to reclaim the round for FaZe. Stolen away from MNM.
That was theft. There was no way that FaZe were meant to win that. That was a 1v3 with a player on the ground. And not only is he able to go and retrieve the mute, injured, but then they come and shut out MNM? How on earth did that happen?
Ridiculous. So I think that that single wall being reinforced off from when Handy crossed over, like you know, the one that goes into Africa, right?
Yeah.
Usually that's open on this bomb site because you want to actually play in Africa and like bob your head up and down and like fight them as they come in the door or whatever. They actually decide to close that off, and the reason why is because they play the mirror inside the actual bomb site. They don't play it inside of Fountain. And as the late round came through, I actually think that that enabled Handy to go and sprint his way across because he couldn't get wall banged, right? So, wow, that was such a fortunate situation for Handy to beat and to end up picking up Souls and then 2v3ing the round. That was crazy.
It's moments like that that really fire you up as well.
10 seconds remaining.
MNM had such a dominant round just 2 rounds prior, and now we're at breakpoint. Mandy, my favorite spot. One of these teams is about to claim match point, but I honestly couldn't tell you which one. FaZe Clan, after stealing a round like that, it could easily be them.
MNM have got to be really careful here. So they've brought up a lineup of 5 operators set up to do a smoke execute, and they're playing it into Vidaking, who's been super successful on the Warden so far on the defense. So they need to make sure that when they go for the execute, that they've isolated out exactly where that Warden player is. Otherwise, it could be very ill-advised.
Oh, this is so risky. I mean, I love the idea, but it is such a big risk. In come the Candelas through the bathroom drone hole. But as you said, it is Vidaking, and he can look through smoke and through stuns unaffected. The rest of FaZe Clan spring into action as this MNM push is being completely shut down. Usus jumps in the window to his demise. Warden will defeat Glaz every day of the week. And unfortunately for MNM, completely fruitless, completely ineffectual was that rush.
Yeah, look, not a bad idea, but not super wise into the lineup that FaZe Clan are bringing. Cyber can collect the 4th for his team by taking down Tyrant, and Nello is in a 1-on-5. Oh gosh, Handy.
Oh, he's being trolled, isn't he?
He is.
Honestly, Handy, he is well within his right to play like this after what happened last round. Handy winning the unwinnable round for his team. And now he's just going to dance on the graves of MNM.
This looks ridiculous. I've never seen anything like this.
Oh, no.
Oh god, poor Nello.
I know exactly where he is too.
Yeah, it's so funny. Look, they have a minute of tactical timeout, assuming Nello doesn't die here, which is possible. They're really hunting for him. They don't want to give MNM anything. No time to talk, no morale, no nothing. They're thinking, yeah, you guys have just done a massive misplay. You don't deserve to be respected. And they're battling him outside. Yeah,
that's so well played from FaZe. I cannot imagine being Nello, being MNM here, and not being at least a little bit tilted. Like this is some serious BM for the Brazilians, and it's the perfect way to get into MNM's head. The sledging is a real strategy. And as you said, Nello's trying here to just take a bit of a tactical timeout. Of course, he can't talk to Julio, the coach, but he can talk to the rest of the team.
Yeah, now keep in mind as well, Nello is that leadership figure of the team. He's the IGL and the captain. So for Nello to be alive, still remain calm, we can actually see in his player cam at the moment, he's completely AFK, hands off the keyboard, talk to your team, yeah, literally, both hands off the keyboard, wipe him with a towel, why not, you know, get comfortable because the next round is where it's at.
Yeah, that's right. MNM are going to have to fight to push overtime here. Cyber,
go, Cyber, go!
Continuing the BM with the smiley face in the chat and hearing that Deagle ring on out. MNM refused to give FaZe the satisfaction of the final kill, but they look very much satisfied regardless.
Fair enough. They're looking good. That was a good defense from FaZe. Just remain calm. Realize you have the upper hand in the macro strategy really early on. Watch MNM do a bit of the sillies and take him down for it.
It's true. And like you said, Vidaking, it was him once again. We see him on screen now. What a round from him. And what a game. He's got to be my MVP so far. I mean, obviously, Solotov's gone bananas. Cyber's had some amazing rounds. But Vidaking has been the rock for FaZe. And
it's about like the impact plays, right?
Oh, yeah. Massively impactful. And what's more, now, if there's anything to cling on to for you MNM fans out there, right? FaZe have just won 2 defenses in a row. What does that mean? Well, the 2 bomb sites that they've chosen are locked. So Armory Archives, Teller's Bathroom, both off the cards, and they're going to have to go to Vents Workshop instead. This is the bomb site, the only bomb site, in fact, that MNM have successfully attacked so far.
This is a lot of rounds in a row for FaZe. I haven't been keeping track. I think you have, right? But like
5 of the last 6.
Yeah, that's impressive. This has been a crazy comeback so far for FaZe. I think it was 4-2 was the half in the end. And so, yeah, on the defense as well, pretty unorthodox. I still don't have a reason, Dev, to be honest. I still don't have a reason. Even after watching whatever it is, 11 of these rounds go down, I cannot pinpoint why, but it's been an exciting match for us to watch.
Yeah, really has. Defender's Paradise, and I think this has got to be the closest game we've seen so far, Mandy. I don't think we've had any 12-round matches yet, let alone overtimes. And I do feel like we have an overtime cooking here for MNM. Tyrant on the IQ, I quite like that pick, especially in tandem with the Dockerby, you know? We've got a lot of ability to hunt for those cameras, to hack those cameras if desired. If anything is in shortage here for MNM, I think it's nades. We've just got the one set, and it's on Solotov here, who's not looking to use him. He's looking to make a play. He might have it here. He's inching around the corner from Souls and Vidaking. But guess who's there, ready and waiting? It's always Vidaking.
Yep, he's gone from one MPX to the other MPX and is still just as dominant with it, being able to take down Solotov, who was on an absolute kill streak, but not anymore. Shut down. Hasn't collected too many on this half of the game.
No, he's been much more disjointed on attack. Really struggled to get into the game. At least for Tyrant, though, on the IQ, he can start taking out some of these Valkyrie cameras. We already saw how much info Vidaking's getting from them. We're seeing it again now from the defaults as well. There was one in CCTV that got a hell of a lot of info. I'm not sure if Tyrant's taken down that one yet. At least now some lateral control for MNM, but they're fighting with their top fragger dead.
Yeah, and the danger as well was the Nook was actually the one to try and evade those Valkyrie cameras, right? But no, hang on a moment. Cyber's just rounding the corner of Tyrant, but Tyrant does the 180 on him to take him down instead.
Sit down, mate. Handy though, he's not having it. Nafe is getting desperate and pushing for another kill. He finds one. Now all 3 players left for FaZe will have to put in their A game. Handy, low HP, trapped at half wall.
They know.
They surely know where he is. He's already found a kill. Is he gonna be shut out? I don't think they're checking the corner.
Oh no, they don't know.
You've got to check your corners, Tyrant! Don't let him do this! Nello can make it a 1v1, but can he make it overtime for MNM? Off the back of the Candela, he does drop into the bomb site, but he's getting pinged by the Prisma. And Souls has the patience, Nello, to start forcing down that plan, and Impact takes him down so low, but it doesn't matter! Souls to close the game, FaZe Clan, by the skin of their teeth, it is a victory with no overtime needed, 7-5 over MNM. And we'll break it down after this break. Hands down, the best game that we have watched so far at the major. And for MNM, what a gut-wrenching loss. For Solotov to go 16 plus kills and to lose, and in what a fashion as well. I think it was 6 of the last 7 rounds were won by FaZe Clan.
Yeah, look, it wasn't pretty towards the end there, was it? MNM looked so dominant on their defense. They looked like they had such a good read of what FaZe Clan were doing. But the moment that the side swap came around, defender side of Border.
Yeah, and what a game for Vidiking as well.
Yeah,
how about
massive. Can you imagine being Vidiking in that last round, right? You're Valkyrie, you're staring at your cams, and then you see the little nook speckles coming around the corner of Officer, and you go, oh no, I am about to die.
Yeah, I can't believe that FaZe managed to make that work, and what a clutch to end it as well. But we've got an interview, so Veracity, please take it away.
I'm joined here by Nello. Now, Nello, commiserations. Of course, the game didn't necessarily go in way of yourselves and the side of MNM, but I need to ask you, you're the very first non-Brazilian team to face off versus this new iteration of FaZe Clan. Have you got any words of warning for any of the other teams that are going to be facing them later down the line?
No, not really. I think this game was mostly on us. We just didn't play that good, and that's why we lost.
Now, I think it's not necessarily Solotov's performance was absolutely incredible. I want to know how much of that came down to his individual performance versus direction from yourself as the IGL.
No, we had a game plan. It was working. Solotov is insane. He's just nuts. But yeah, we couldn't close some rounds. It is what it is.
Well, yourself and your team have certainly given us a good performance. That game was kind of close to the wire, as it were. But continuing on throughout the rest of the tournament now, what does preparations look like for yourselves? What's the next steps?
We just move on game by game. We lost this one. We have at least 2 more chances, so we just need to take it game by game and just focus on the next one.
Well, best of luck to yourself and your team, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much.
How do you do the phase up? Is it like that?
Oh, I'm offline. Don't even get me started.
I don't know how we do it, but yeah, FaZe Clan. I love how you're still trying to. No, it's backwards for me.
I'm not even trying.
No, this is right for me because this is an F for me.
Okay, well, you know what? I think that should be right for broadcast. Well, anyway, FaZe Clan managed to successfully win out that series. We did speak a little bit earlier on about how MNM are this team that, they play really well against teams they're not expected to beat, but then they lose versus teams that they should be beating. Where do you think they kind of fall on this spectrum versus FaZe Clan?
I think this was a really difficult matchup to predict in regards of who should come out victorious out of this matchup. And I think as soon as the match progressed, it became very clear that MNM had a very good shot of winning that game. They looked very strong. It was the Marshmallows and Solotov show, which he really set up for today. And unfortunately, I believe it came down later on their own attacks where they had so much information for them. I saw a round where they played Dokkaebi and Twitch and Brava just to get information for themselves. They had these huge moments of where they zapped both mirror windows. They got the cameras, they got that information, but then somehow in the end of the round, they were unable to play it out. And I do believe, especially that 10th round, where FaZe was able to 1v3, that must have hurt the mental.
Sport and esport, but sport in general, is such a cruel thing. And it's beautiful, where a team can strategically win. Like, let's make no mistakes about this. MNM strategically won this game, but they did not just execute in a couple of rounds, and it's cost them a 5-7 loss. And looking at them, in the Nello, obviously in the interview, but the players and the body language afterwards, they are pissed. They are really upset. They should not have lost that game. And they know that, there was many arguments, there was a little bit of tension, to be honest. And, I feel it. It's a loss that should never have come from MNM's point of view.
Now, was there a kind of like a moment in time where you had kind of taken note of their lack of performance and what you were hoping to see from them, especially when comparing their attacking side versus their defense?
Yeah, I think, you know, we've known this for a while, and they've played into that a little bit. You know, we've said about MNM before that they're a little bit defense match. So 4-2 on border, you know, the split was kind of what we was expecting to see. It was their attacks that was, you know, always going to come into question. Obviously, they didn't get over the line today, and it is something they're aware of. It's something everybody's aware of at this point, is that MNM have struggled on their attacks and continue struggling on their attacks.
And they did set themselves up well. I mean, we talked about how much information they had for themselves, those huge clutch plays where they did have the information and they did have the chems hacked, but then they still are unable to perform that out in the last part of the round. For example, we saw a player crouch through that breach that they made, and then obviously on the other side, you have the player of FaZe that experienced a similar situation. They know exactly how to deal with it, and that just pulls around in the favor of FaZe.
Now, I know I touched upon it very briefly with Nello, but Solotov's performance, Fresh.
Yeah, he's crazy. He is absolutely crazy. Like, genuinely, potentially one of the best players in EUL, you know, in the conversation for one of the best players in the world. But the one thing that I think, as the next game is about to start, the one thing that I do think is that that performance, that game, and I want to give credit to FaZe here, it shows the difference between having one nuts guy that pops off and having a complete team performance, because that's what FaZe had today. I thought, you know, they were coming up against the force for Solotov, and once they got a grip on that, they put in a really good team performance and managed to, you know, perform that comeback.
You could see that Solotov was going up to 14-2, and then it stopped for a few rounds where he got one death and he was more passive on the plays. On the side of FaZe, it was Cyber really stepping up on those first few rounds, but eventually it evened out, and it was a, well, similar performance from all players really on the side of FaZe.
Well, I'm sincerely hoping that the folks at home were able to hear the teams that are getting prep, primed and ready. We have M80 taking on the Wolves after this.